There was maybe 2 or 3 scenes in there that was like, okay, very, very well done, and most of them were around Al Pacino's, and his character of Jimmy Buffett.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Heroes Peak podcast. It is the 12th of February, 2020. Wow, I almost forgot what year it was. Just a few days before Valentine's Day. I hope everybody's keeping track of that. Don't want to miss it. Shout out to my wife. Love you. I'm here, your host, Chris, with friends of mine. You know them. You love them. James, how you doing, James?
Shout out to my wife as well. I like how you started that chain. You know we gotta follow suit.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
And Mike, how's it hanging up in Canada?
It's not too bad. It's warming up a bit. I'll take it. Nasty infection on my finger, so I'm taking full advantage of the universal health care.
And what does warming up a bit mean?
It means it's above. It is above freezing today. And yes, a shout out to my wife as well. Happy Valentine's Day early.
That's right. We got to do it. We like to do it. It's not about having to do it. We want to do it.
No,
right,
exactly.
guys?
No,
That's right. All right. So today is the Heroes Peak Culture Cast. It's going to be a little bit of everything. We're going to talk a little entertainment, a little bit of politics, a little bit of sports. Just going to a little bit of everything.
Well, a lot's happened since our last show. I mean, we've had the end of January, beginning of February. It's like a huge thing, right? There's so much to watch.
A lot of stuff in culture. The end of last year was such a huge movie year, right? Now we're kind of in a grace period. You just had the Oscars. We're going to talk about that. A little more debate. So exciting, right? Iowa caucuses.
That whole debacle,
Yeah.
There's an app for that now.
There's an app for that? Not that what I hear, right?
Oh, boy.
All right. So why don't we start? We're going to go back to the Super Bowl recap. I think we'll start there, right, guys?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good game.
So we had a great game. We had the Kansas City Chiefs triumph over the San Francisco 49ers. I couldn't even tell you the score. I don't remember right off the top of my head. I should have looked.
Shout out to the great state of Kansas.
Congratulations.
Because why not?
Shout out to the halftime show as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. Man, I hear some guy suing him because it made him
yeah, it did.
Feel some stuff.
He's suing the NFL, Pepsi, and his cable provider.
Good luck with that, buddy.
Yeah, I saw somebody post that now he's spicing his stuff with adobo.
You know what? I bet you that guy's a shill for a Viagra Corporation because sales will be down after that halftime show.
Well, I think he's a guy, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen him. He's got like this custom cross baseball hat that he wears when he does his show.
Oh, is it right? Is it that guy? I think I know that guy.
It's that guy.
Jesus hat.
Yeah,
he's annoying as hell.
Got a podcast too.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, that's why he's suing. He's got a podcast to promote.
And if you're listening, you are welcome to come on this show and explain yourself anytime.
That's right. Who should we sue to get our name out there?
Him.
DC? DC
yes.
Entertainment?
Chris Terrio.
DCFU.
Chris Terrio. Oh, that's awful. Artists do your artist thing. We won't sue you.
Yeah.
We'll just complain about you on air.
But yeah, definitely a good show. Good Super Bowl, I thought.
Yeah, it was. I was rooting for the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, for the Chiefs since last year.
Yeah.
So it was good that he had opportunity to not only return back, but this time win it all at such a young age of 24. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, hopefully the start of many more, right?
Yeah. Possible dynasty, do I dare say.
You kind of had two different story options. So Garoppolo, the quarterback of 49ers there.
Like he came out of Grey's Anatomy male casting catalog.
Well, I guess the football question was, could he get out of Brady's shadow? I mean, getting to the Super Bowl was part of it, but he couldn't quite get that. He could have been the face of the
Chris, the
NFL.
other question was, could he get out of his offensive lineman shadow? Because the dude was like a solo eclipse. Like, where is this guy?
Well, who was the guy who kept knocking his passes down? The defensive lineman there. I wish I had looked it up.
No, I don't know.
Like 3 big passes he either knocked down or tipped, preventing first downs, and basically shut down the 49ers offense on his own.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was before he had that interception.
Yeah, go to the sports podcast if you want names and numbers and shit.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
That's right. We just know popular people like Patrick Mahomes. He went to Disney World apparently.
Andy Reid. Yeah. Andy Reid said he was going to eat the biggest cheeseburger that exists after he won.
Yeah.
He also said he spent the night, like, he made a big thing about, like, the first night was spent with his wife, and I was like, whoa, Andy.
He did say that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Getting frisky on the,
Good.
Kool-Aid.
That's right, good for him.
That Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I think they were asking him, like, what he was going to do or something that night.
Yeah, what's the first thing? Oh, like, was he going to sleep with the trophy or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if he was going to sleep with the,
with the trophy.
I don't want to think about that. Thanks, man.
God, sports reporters ask the dumbest questions sometimes.
Well, like every time you see a video, guys are like doing shots out of a trophy, and all I can think of is that dirty? Did anybody clean that?
Well, you got to imagine how many people have been handling that thing before, you know? And I'm pretty sure, nobody sanitized it before they brought it into the locker room.
What's a little motto between offensive linemen?
Yeah.
A little pink eye between friends.
Be more concerned with coronavirus right now, right? So
I'm definitely not built for a championship. Sorry, guys. I'm not drinking out of a trophy.
So what would you say? Would you say that the Kansas City Chiefs stole the victory, whereas the Niners choked, or the Chiefs played the game that they've been playing the entire playoffs and got themselves in position to come back and win? I've heard both sides of this.
I'm gonna say I think the Chiefs grabbed that victory and took it, because you're right about what they've been doing all playoffs, getting behind, and then being the second half team, and in this case, the fourth quarter team, right? Mahomes' ability to just throw wherever, however, and taking over the mantle from your Seattle QB
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. And before him, you've always had these gunslingers, and he's definitely
a gunslinger that could run.
Gunslinger, right? And that's scary. And he got a couple of first downs with his feet. They pushed him back farther. They pushed him out of the pocket, and his receivers have always managed to keep moving. Like, you see a lot of these teams where the pocket breaks down, the quarterback's moving, and he's looking, and his receivers did their route and they're waiting. But him, Green Bay, Seattle, those guys keep moving around and finding their way open, or they've created routes that keep those guys moving instead of, sticking them in spot. And I think that, and a couple of key defensive plays when it mattered the most, keeping them from just running the ball as easily as San Francisco did in previous games. By the way, I loved seeing San Francisco destroy the Green Bay Packers. That was a lovely day for me.
Yeah. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, so
you know what? He's got a good personality. I enjoy seeing him on his commercials and stuff. Just stay off the field for me, please. Thanks. But anyway, yeah, I think it was more them. People were, even I was passing around jokes about, the 49er coach not being able to pull it out. But if you look at the plays, I've seen a lot of breakdowns, and it was guys were open for passes and guys were able to do what they were supposed to, but either Garoppolo didn't make the throw, or there was a throw blocked, or there was good tackle. And I really think Kansas City won this one.
Yeah, I don't agree. I've heard the counterpoint be said a lot through sports media and in person, and I'm like, wait a minute, are they watching the same game that I'm watching? I want to know, what the rest of the general audience would think. So that's why I posed the question. Other than that, it was the halftime, man. Halftime, it was great seeing Shakira and J-Lo.
Oh, how great did they look, man? And people
Yeah, it
were
looked
like,
great.
yeah.
Can I say that when Shakira showed up and she was playing guitar, I was like,
Great,
"Whoa,
yeah.
hey, Shakira's playing guitar," and then she shows up, she's playing the drums,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "What? I had no idea
Not to
how
Really?
sound like one of those
talented."
okay boomer dads out there, but it was great seeing two women with actual talent come out on stage and do a hell of a performance, and not Cardi B or some other version of that. Billie Eilish.
You know what though? I'm not going to agree with you on Billy though. Billy, she's got some talent. She's but
Definitely,
she's very young.
one dimensional.
Just give her a few years, right? Because let her evolve in her art.
Her music is cool because it's very different song to song.
Yeah.
Like Billie Eilish does a lot of different things.
Trust me, I'm going to be crucified for saying that here at home because I'm a huge fan for her.
But for this halftime show, I didn't realize like these are multi-talented women.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Dancing, singing, the artistry. I assume they had something to do with some of the choreography. Obviously, they have professionals with them, but the setup, the costumes, but also you can see how musically talented, and specifically Shakira popped that out of nowhere.
Yep.
For me, and she was dressed like her Zootopia character.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I saw a meme or something later.
That's what a meme afterwards. Yeah.
It was funny.
It was funny, and to hear
we're living in a
about the backlash
right
the next day, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I didn't realize there was anything wrong with it until the backlash came out that Monday.
I think the poll really did it. I think if it was mostly dancing, I think most people probably would have ignored it. I mean, there's always that one.
I don't know.
I saw a lot of crotch gyrating dancing that the camera kind of like maybe a second and a half focused on, and I think that's what got a lot of people in the
Yeah, but no, I saw a lot of complaints about what they were wearing, and then I saw good counters for that. It was like, yeah, but if you notice on the sidelines, the cheerleaders basically wearing the same thing.
Or what about Adam Levine, the previous Super Bowl?
Yeah, oh, exactly. It's interesting. Nobody said anything about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say that J-Lo had guy dancers that were dressed almost identically.
Yeah.
They had just had like straps on their chest or something weird.
Yeah, mostly this is the Million Moms group that's actually made up of like 257 people who want to complain.
257 people. And staunch.
At last count, I think they gained a couple.
The only other thing I think we missed during the Super Bowl was the commercials that came. The $1 million commercials.
Oh yeah, we should. Do you guys have a favorite one or two commercials?
Off the top of my head, Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh man, that thing, that was so freaky the first time I saw it.
Every single time I see it, it's freaky because they do it every now and then too. Still,
it garnered the largest reaction in the house. I think. Mike, do you have one that was particularly memorable? Now that we're 2 weeks out,
I like the Amazon one with Ellen. That was good.
Oh,
like
the Alexa.
What people did before the Echoes.
Yeah. That was funny. Unfortunately, I saw that one before the Super Bowl, so. See, now everything's released for it kind of loses its pop.
Right.
There used to be like 20 Dorito ads. There wasn't.
Yeah, there were a couple, but there weren't that many. The Pringles Rick and Morty was pretty funny.
Trying to remember it.
He turns into all the Pringles robots or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah. No, I saw that.
Oh, and you know what was we were talking about it that night. The crossover ads. This was like the
Tide
MCU
ads
of commercials. Yeah.
Oh, the
bringing in Bud Light and and all the others.
I actually loved that Tide ad. The first. Not now. And yeah, the universe crossover, the Mr. Peanut funeral into birth. That was a little bit weird.
Yeah, Baby Peanut, right? That set off a whole set of versus Yoda, right?
Right. I have to say, I didn't expect to see Wesley Snipes at that funeral, but
Oh,
good on him getting a paycheck.
The other Tide commercial that was good that followed through the game where the guy He kept getting the stain on his shirt. The guy from Philadelphia,
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Sonny.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, I like.
Did I miss that commercial? I'm like,
Yeah,
oh.
he was in the beer commercial. He popped up in,
Yeah.
in 20 different commercials, and
Yeah,
was
because he
good.
kept messing up his shirt. Yeah.
Man, P&G spent some money on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. I think overall it was probably the best Super Bowl in years. Game-wise, halftime, plus decent commercials. Yeah, pretty entertaining throughout.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then, so 10 years from now, when Patrick Mahomes is at his 9th Super Bowl and we're all sick of him and we're calling him Brady, we'll remember this day as his first one.
This is the one I started it all.
The way
I'll be hating on him then.
That's right. They're cheaters. They're cheaters.
Hey, don't be surprised after Brady retires, they pick up Patrick there.
Wait, what? What? After Brady retires, the Patriots are picking up Patrick?
Actually, Philip
You
Rivers.
never know.
Philip Rivers is actually up for
Exactly.
free agency.
That's more likely.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
So
even
you-
that's a stretch.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Oh, the Tom Brady ad. Did you see the Tom Brady ad?
We did, yeah.
That was kind of cruel.
Mhm.
So
I loved it.
yeah, it was good. All right, so we're gonna pop off sports. We're gonna move over to the Oscars. You guys actually watched this. I kind of ignored the Oscars. I enjoyed the time of everybody yelling about the Oscars more than the Oscars themselves. And there was a lot of yelling this year about the Oscars.
Yeah.
Who wants to break it down for me?
Well, let me start, because this is something that's been in my household as a family tradition since I think 2012. My son must have been 3. So what we do is,
long ago.
yeah, we print brackets out, we fill it, and it's like, winner just gets like, you won, nothing serious. And then, recent years, we started like, okay, if you win, $5 or dishes or whatever it is. So it's gotten more serious recently. And so the last 2 years I've won. And this year I was going for a three-peat, and I think I made some terrible decisions that I wish I could take back. I got confused with the cinematography and sound editing, sound mixing. That always gets me. But I had the right, I had 1917 and Ford versus Ferrari, but I had them in the wrong category. So my daughter had it right, so I gave her 2 extra points. But I came back down the stretch. Best actor, best actress.
You're the Patrick Mahomes of the Oscars.
And best director. Yeah, best director. We ended in a tie, a 3-way tie. My wife, myself,
See, I don't usually I don't do all the categories, because like when it gets to like all the effects categories and whatever, I have no clue, right? Like which, like, they all look great to me, so I'm just
But
like,
that's the
okay,
fun
I have
part,
no
Mike.
idea.
Those are the X factors.
I know, but I usually stick to the main categories. The best pictures, the screenplays, and the actors and supporting, etc. And I will do one thing that's important to me is the score. So I will go through the score category, best score and best song.
Yeah,
So.
Even that gets a little bit confusing sometimes. Score versus song.
Oh yeah.
Like, I go back and think like, oh, okay, this is just a soundtrack. This is not necessarily the background score, stuff like that. But
Right.
And then animated short versus like, documentary, all those stuff. So I usually try to do research, 24 hours before. So it's fun because I grew up when I was young.
Oh yeah.
At least watching the Oscars, and then now seeing my family doing the same, but we're making like a little sport out of it. It's really cool. Although my son gets frustrated because he usually gets like the least points
because he doesn't know any of the movies.
Yeah, so he was like, Avengers did win special effects. That's it. I'm done. He was done at that point.
Yeah, but I'm with him there. I'm with him. I said it that night. I was like, how could Endgame
Dude,
not
that
win
one
that,
and the animated short film about the I think Hair Love. But he had picked Kit and Bull because he actually watched that one. He goes, people don't care about dogs getting abused, but they care about hair. I was like, Eric, you just don't understand, young man. You don't understand.
You got to explain to him there's a lot of politics behind this.
He's at the age where he should know by now. But yeah, that's something I got to drill into him. I even dig into this. What about to me, one of the biggest moments of the night or surprises other than Best Picture was Eminem. Eminem Slim Shady himself, Marshall Mathers.
Oh man,
opened up for whatever weird reason.
Yeah, you missed that,
I
Chris.
was seeing pics after the fact of all the people not dancing to beat.
Yeah, what killed me or confused the hell out of me was this was right after they were doing a montage of best songs in movies. So they had "Eye of a Tiger," they had John Williams, they had all these different songs that were, I guess, Oscar winners for movies throughout the decade. And then the screen went black, and then you see the stage rise up and the lights, and then you see Eminem, and he's singing "Lose Yourself," like the 2002 hit song "Lose Yourself" from 8 Mile, and I'm like, wait, what? Like,
but that was nominated, right? That was a nominated song.
I know it was nominated, but why particularly that song 18 years ago?
So obviously,
I guess he was available.
Right, I was gonna say Eminem's got to be selling it. He just released an album.
He did, but it wasn't like he was singing a song from that album. He was singing a song from 18 years ago.
Yeah, but it makes people reconnect with Eminem. What's he doing now?
It made maybe 10% of the crew.
The member berries.
It made 10% of the group that was on televised connect, and then 90% of the folks were just like, huh, what?
Dude, I remember I was working in the Apple store when that came out, and then Apple picked it up as a ad, and so I just heard that song over and over and
Mom
over.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, because they were selling the iPods with it. Ugh.
Yeah, half the audience was just repeating the Mom Spaghetti part.
That's right. That's all.
And the other half was going, "What does Mom Spaghetti have to do with anything?"
What does Mom Spaghetti have to do?
So who won? What were the big takeaways here? We're not going to obviously go through everything. But...
Yeah, so the biggest, there was a couple of like predictable wins. Joaquin Phoenix, Renee Zellweger. I had those. For those of us who watch like the Emmys and Golden Globes and all the SAG awards, that it's like this award season where Hollywood gets to praise themselves and pat themselves in the back.
Oh, they love that.
So when you see certain personalities winning over and over, it's almost like an indicator that they're going to get the Oscar. And for Joaquin and Renee, it became pretty obvious, and Laura Dern, that they were heavy front runners. But again, there's always an exception. There's always a surprise, always an underdog that makes it in the Oscars that no one
the dark horse,
and that was Parasite. And I'm so glad I watched that movie the night before the Oscars. I caught it late Saturday night with my wife.
You know what? I'm glad you figured out to turn on the subtitles.
2 minutes into this, and I was like, oh, heck no. What? This can't be right. And then wife took the remote, and then, we set that up. Subtitles. It changed the game.
Yeah, I think I had seen it before you guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, watch this movie.
I haven't watched it yet, but our subtitles are on half the time because we're always watching anime at night, so subtitles wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, you have to see this movie, though. It was amazing.
A lot of douche nozzles online, it seemed to set them off.
Yeah, but what do you expect, man? And the times that we live in, everyone's triggered about something for right or wrong reasons. And then you have folks who just like to troll anyway. They don't really care. They just want to watch the world burn and say stupid shit. Right. Parasite, yeah. Best picture, best director, best original screenplay. They were like...
Oh, don't forget best best foreign film.
Yes, which was a given. We knew that.
Wow, that's amazing to win best foreign film and best picture.
That's like in the old days when the guy used to win the Intercontinental Championship in WWE and then won the Heavyweight Championship. Like, wow, 2 title holders. Well, the one's bigger than the other.
So, and to be honest, in my picks, I was gonna pick it, but then something told me I had wound up picking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just because the politics thing came into my head, and I was like, "There's no way they would give it to Parasite,"
Yeah, same with me because my wife and my daughter all picked 1917. But deep down, I was like, "Man, I think Parasite is that good enough to." I don't know, and had I picked it, I would have won outright. But
all right, I'll watch it this week.
Definitely check it out.
I did watch 1917 though.
That was good too, though.
I'm not done. Don't. I'm about a third into it.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to
Oh.
stop.
How did you stop it?
It was
I couldn't
Sunday.
stop.
We have basketball games. As you
Leave
guys
it to
know,
Jim
so.
to take
Oh, that's right.
leave it to Jim to take a movie that's shot as a single
Single
shot
shot.
and make it multiple shots.
Turn series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We add commercial breaks to it.
Nah, but so far I love it. So far it's a great movie so far.
And it's one of the few movies, we won't go on this long, just one of the few movies where when they say, hey, this cool technical thing that they're doing with the movie
Mhm.
actually does something to your involvement in the movie.
Right. You know, it kind of reminded me like a video game, you know, like a third person, you know, because in the video game, you're following that in the third person, you're following them throughout the whole thing, right? So it was kind of like that. So that was impressive. Did you guys see Ford versus Ferrari? Because I saw that.
Not yet. I know. It's on my list.
You know, for the engineers, you'll like it. So
Yeah, I believe you. No, I believe you. I just gotta squeeze it in somewhere.
And I did see Jojo Rabbit, and that was great as well.
Don't worry, guys. I saw Doolittle, and it did not. I know it didn't win, but
the one that didn't impress me as much, except for the acting, was The Irishman.
Yeah, I told you.
Like, I thought it was a good movie, and the actors were fantastic. Of course, you got Pacino, De Niro, Pesci, right?
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, did it feel like a Best Picture nominee?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if you're adding, because we've got 9 every year now, and you got to fit one in there somewhere, I guess.
You know why? Because of the all-star cast and director, you gotta give it, consideration. There was maybe 2 or 3 scenes in there that was like, okay, very, very well done, and most of them were around Al Pacino's and his character of Jimmy Buffett. But for the most part, Jimmy
Hoffa,
Jimmy Hoffa,
Jimmy Buffett,
Jimmy Hoffa,
cheeseburger in paradise.
Jimmy Hoffa.
He's got his flip flops on and he's shooting pools.
But the first
there's our cold open right there.
No. The first impression I had of that right after the credits roll, my wife and I looked at each other. It was just like, this is what everyone's screaming about. Like, come on, it's not even that. Parasite. I actually saw it Saturday night, and I thought it was a great movie. I recommend everyone here to see it. I think, Mike, you've seen it as well, right?
Yeah.
So it triggered some folks knowing that a foreign Korean movie like swept screenplay, director, picture. Forgot the 4th award, but
foreign film.
And his name, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho.
I mean, his speech when he won Best Director, I thought was very classy. Like he went and he praised Quentin Tarantino, saying how Quentin was one of the first American directors that was like giving his name some weight in Hollywood circles, because Quentin has like that weird eccentric taste of Asian movies. And then he also said how Martin Scorsese was like his role model. He studied him.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff that he took to heart watching his movies. Like he was praising the guys that he beat in his award, as opposed to like kind of doing the I like to think so and so. No, like, I like to thank this guy for inspiring me to do this in the movie. I like to thank this guy for telling people that to give me a shot. It was a great classy speech, man.
The thing is too, when he got his award, like before he started talking, like he was just staring at it like in such delight. Like
he was like, I can't believe I did it. Like I remember that because he let the producer of the movie talk for a bit. And he was off to the side. I guess he didn't realize that the camera's still on him. So he just turned around and looked at the trophy like it was like a pet, baby pet animal, whatever. And was like so in love with it. Like he was like, I can't believe, wow, this is real. Like that look in his face from the side.
Yeah.
And Bong Joon-ho is the second person to win 4 Oscars. Only Walt Disney is the other one.
Man.
Oh wow! For what? Disney won for what?
I'd have to look.
Probably Beauty. No, it won't be Beauty and the Beast.
No. That's he's long dead for that. Hold on.
While they do that, speaking of like Oscar speeches, I thought the Joaquin Phoenix when he won, which I knew he was going to win for Joker. It was just perfectly. It was a role that was written for him to win, and he actually executed too. So it wasn't like he didn't earn it. But his speech went on a tangent that I couldn't quite figure. I expected to be political, progressive liberal, but then he went into like baby calf milk and when you put that milk in your latte, think of the animals, and we humans have to do better, not just by ourselves and race and creed, but also by the animals and the plant life. And I'm like, whoa, 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 what? Like, you're way left now. When you guys get on your private jets, and he had a similar speech at the Golden Globes when he won. Like, when you guys tonight, you guys are all talking about being vegan and helping the environment, but then you're all gonna be flying your $1 million jets tonight and burning gas and jet fuel. I was like, oh, I get it. Yes, you got a point, but
do better.
Yeah,
just come out and say do better.
But he killed me. He killed me
guys,
at the
when
a pregnant cow has a baby calf, and then he gets stolen, and milk that's supposed to be for the calf is put in your latte, and you feel good about yourself, but you're hurting the environment. I was like, whoa. I drink milk in my coffee. What are you trying to say? I'm a monster?
Right. So, Walt Disney won 4 Oscars in 1954 for Best Short Subject, Documentary Feature, Best Documentary Short Subject, and Best Live Action Short Subject. So, not quite as much as Best Picture and Best Director, but so those are the only 2 to win 4 Academy Awards in a single night.
Good job by you, Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
If I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Bong Joon-ho.
I gotta see that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I definitely have to go see it.
Was there any other surprises?
Let me see. I'm scrolling through the winners.
I thought the format, I think the format of not having a host like they did last year is actually working better than the previous years, but they're still running over their time limit. So I don't.
I did like Steve Martin and Chris Rock in the beginning. That was nice. That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, but they weren't really hosts. They were just kind of like
their sketch was funny though. Yeah,
like when Chris Rock goes, you know what's missing this year as the category, and then Steve goes, no, what? He goes, vaginas. Everybody's like,
I mean, you guys didn't want Ricky Gervais up there,
no,
skewering everybody.
I mean, he can have the Golden Globes for that one.
So I do have to give a shout out though to best score winner, Hilda Gudnadottir from Iceland, first Icelandic winner. That's for my wife, of course. You know, she was like, she was all excited, you know, because she's from Iceland, right? So.
What movie did she win for?
For Joker. She did the score for Joker.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a very interesting song.
Yeah, she beat John Williams for Rise of Skywalker there.
John Williams, nadir of his career, would be that movie.
It wasn't the score that people remember about that movie.
Yeah.
No, but
not the way he wants to end his career.
And 1917 beat out again Endgame for visual effects and Rise of Skywalker.
That was absurd. You know what? Talk about surprise. It wasn't just Eric that was pissed. I was pissed also. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That movie had real practical effects. I get that. And the one-shot thing, they probably used some special effects to make it seem like it was one shot. But Avengers Endgame was 90% CGI. The main villain, the main character was CGI.
Yeah.
What are you telling me?
Yeah, that's the thing. I was trying to think of, like, in 1917, I'm trying to think, like, a lot of it is shot, like, on location, and they built sets. So what visual effects are we...
Those are not real explosives?
Yeah, what visual effects are we talking about? Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Probably about 50% of what you see at any given time, if it's not a close-up, is special effects.
That's not a real biplane flying overhead.
Anytime there's a
But you know what? This is not a real scene or character that I'm looking at on the screen right now. Everything is computer generated, other than freaking what's her name, Scarlett Johansson.
But like the scene where you see a trench run by a large army, you have about 30 or 40% of the people are there. Everything else, the bombs going off are partially real because you got the explosions in the dirt and stuff, but a lot of stuff's put in there.
The scene where you see Captain America, Steve Rogers, standing on that cliff overlooking an army in the sunset. Right. Yeah, Captain America himself is.
No, I agree with you guys. I'm just saying that when you see those movies, most of the stuff is just not there. Yeah, even being on set, most of the stuff isn't there. What I don't like is like, so they built there's a burned out village, and it feels like a small, and maybe that's what it looks like in real life, and I've just never been to a World War I burned out village, but it felt like a small plastics, foam set rather than, build real buildings. And I wasn't sure. I was like, really, 1917? But they're all good work. It wasn't something that took me out of the thing, but I don't know. It doesn't seem that they like to give that award to movies that are 90% special effects.
And they rename the award. Rename it hybrid effects category or whatever it is, or practical effects.
Well, it's like sound mixing and sound editing are two different awards. Why, do a practical effects and a CGI award, man?
Well, somebody I saw there was a good point. There was an article I saw the other day about, is it time to finally bring in a comedy category, and a drama category, because most of the time comedies don't even think about comedies when it comes to the Oscars.
Yeah, what we really need is a superhero category so that we can.
Yeah, I think Dolomite should have been nominated. There was a comedy award. Probably the funniest movie I've seen all year.
No, you have not seen Doolittle, man. You have not seen Doolittle. There's got to be an award for worst voice effect that an actor puts on. So we could have had Bane one year. And this year could have been Robert Downey Jr.'s year for his whispering of his lines during Doolittle.
Keep cashing those checks, Robert Downey Jr. Keep cashing those checks.
That's right. All right. So unless you guys have anything else to say, I say we pop on to our next topic. And we're only going to spend a small amount of time, so don't bitch too long. But we're going to talk about the Iowa and New Hampshire primaries.
Wait, is the Iowa caucus still going?
It's over. It's over, but both leaders, Sanders' camp and Buttigieg's camp, they want something, a reassessment done.
Iowa never happened.
I would never have. I don't know. Don't tell Bernie folks that.
Yeah, hold on. But how many delegates in Iowa were they battling for?
Not that many. 24.
Like
24
9?
altogether. But it was split. It's
24,
proportional,
okay.
right?
Yeah, Democrats are proportional.
Yeah.
So it was like Pete got 9.
But it's a caucus, though. It's not even. It's not even a primary.
It's a caucus.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bernie walks away with the popular vote, and I think either he's tied or Buttigieg had one more delegate in Iowa.
Yes, that's right.
And in New Hampshire, Bernie gets both barely. He's like 2%, beat Buttigieg by like 2%, something like that.
It was a bit more than that, but I think it was about 6,000 votes or something like that.
Yeah, but percentage-wise, it's only like 2%. I gotta look now.
I gotta check. But so there were 24 delegates in New Hampshire, and so right now, as of today, between Iowa and New Hampshire, you got Pete with 22 and Bernie with 21. Then behind them is Liz with 8 and Klobuchar with 7.
Klobucharge.
Clobbering time.
Clobbering time. I love that meme.
And Uncle Joe's coming in with 6, and the rest have 0.
Hey, that's a horse-faced liar. Pony something.
Dog and pony show? What?
I don't know. Ask Corn Pop. He'll know.
Listen, me and Barack spent 8 years doing exactly this thing.
That's
Barack
right.
used to love to rub my leg hair.
Yeah.
And put me in charge of the war.
Yeah, he put me in charge of the Iran deal. I'm like, what?
All right.
Revisionist history much?
It's like we do this thing where I run for president and he totally ignores me.
Right.
You love it.
It's him showing his hidden support right now.
It's our little gag.
So today we lost Deval Patrick. Plus, somebody play taps.
Not literally. We lost him to the war.
And Yang.
And Yang.
Yang. And somehow Tulsi's still in it.
I felt that one. I felt the Yang loss.
Yeah.
I like it.
And somehow, say that again.
I said somehow Tulsi is still in it.
Yo, Big Hawaii is definitely a Russian op. Yo, like she's definitely a GOP op.
I'm telling you, Hillary was right, guys. Jeez.
Man, did you see the other day? What did she say the other day on Fox News? I forgot. Oh my god!
Every time she goes on Fox News, she just complains about the Democrats and how they're not doing the right thing. She's
Oh, yeah,
She's setting up her 2024 Republican bid for president.
She just defended the firings of Vindman, his brother, and.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that crap.
Yeah, when wasn't she on Fox News the other day?
Yeah,
too?
she's been going on Fox News. That's all the only people who
Yo,
take her.
she
right
is
now.
such a Republican.
And so I don't think any other state she's going to get anything. I think New Hampshire is one of those, maybe Vermont, I guess, one of those states with a lot of independent, kind of Republican-leaning voters who can vote in these things.
I think Nevada too, if I remember correctly.
She's not going to go anywhere. She's never going to get a delegate, but she'll squeak a couple of percentage points away from Bernie or whatever.
She's the Jill Stein of the game.
Yeah, she's the Jill Stein. She's not as popular as even Stein, though. I think
that's the only
Stein.
thing, which is like, why is she still in it? That's like who's giving her bread? Like, why is she wasting everyone's time? Just go away.
Just go away.
Yeah, that's right. So in New Hampshire, Bernie squeaks by with 25.7% of the vote, 76,324. Pete Buttigieg, 24.4. So just over a percentage point of difference, 72,000. So his Bernie's lead dwindled to about 4,000 votes. The Klobuchar, 19% of the vote, almost 20% of the vote, and poor Liz, my pick, unfortunately, dropped below to 9.2. Joe Biden with a sorry 8.4. Ouch. Showing up. We're not going to go through the whole list. There's a lot of names on here who technically got votes. Julio Castro is still getting votes.
Wait, he quit.
Right.
A long time ago.
So people just don't pay attention, I guess. So right now, Bernie's he's got the lead, but he hasn't crossed 30% of the vote. Pete Buttigieg has boosted up, but he hasn't crossed 30% of the vote. So we really are pretty open.
Yeah,
even
so
if,
far.
Once
we get down to, we'll see what happens after South Carolina, right?
Because that's what Joe is banking on, is that he's going to pull the...
That's his firewall, as they say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we know how well firewalls have worked in the past. Walls keep falling down. So do you guys think Joe, his support will hold? That he's been sitting on basically the same support since before he entered the race?
Well, if you're talking about the African American community, I think Bloomberg is actually making some dent into that block, that voting block of his. And
yeah, it's already dwindling. He's losing support by the day from the Afro-skinned American.
Which leads me to believe, who else was he championing?
That was his ace in the hole.
As a residual block from his previous campaign. And yeah, what's his king? What's his jack? What does he have left?
Well, and that's it. He doesn't have anything left because he hasn't done particularly well to kind of create a centrist Dem group that was all pulled away by Buttigieg and now a little bit by Klobuchar. He can't go to the left at all. We all know his voting record. We all know he's having trouble keeping up in the states. He's leaving early to, he left New Hampshire early because he did so.
But again,
I think he left right before the polls.
Let's not do what the media does. Like, this is like,
yeah, he was out.
Literally, it's only 2 states that that have voted out of 50. I actually think what he did. Was super smart.
Oh yeah, it's
like,
yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean, but it can't be any worse. Like, where you are by that point.
If it pans out,
what are you gonna stay here and like massage the wound? Like, all right, go get a head start. You already see that without even doing any debates or any of this nonsense you and the rest of the candidates are doing, Bloomberg is already chipping into your black vote, which is your ace in the hole. He had to go.
Okay. I have a poll here, Real Politics poll. I don't have a date. It's February 29th is the page date. The most recent South Carolina polls show Biden at 31%, which is low because he was in the 40s. Steyer with 18.5%. What the hell is he doing there? Is he going to be replaced by Bloomberg? Because Bloomberg isn't even on this list. Then Sanders actually has 17% good showing in South Carolina here. Everybody else is below 10. Buttigieg down in the 5% range, so that's gonna hurt.
Sanders is the front
time.
runner right now at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting. I just want to see if these wins, which are very tight, are going to boost his numbers, or if he's going to keep getting 25-30% everywhere we go, and we're going to be, Super Tuesday, and barely anybody has gotten a solid front runner win, right? Getting 1% over number 2 doesn't look like you're the runaway winner every time.
I mean, I still find it odd that Bernie was in his not home state but next door state and couldn't distance himself from the pack.
Well, I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble online if people actually listen to our podcast. I'm a Warren voter. I think, but Bernie's my number 2 at this point, right? But I'm tend to side more. I don't call myself a socialist. I lean more on the opposite direction, more towards capitalist.
This
right?
is the end of Heroes Podcast as we know it.
Bernie doesn't, and actually that whole left side doesn't use the word socialist prop. Nobody in this country uses socialist prop. Right? They're not really socialists because the state isn't running.
Yeah, it's still a capitalist society.
It's still a capitalist stuff. But using the word socialist in this country and willingly saying you're going to raise taxes is basically shooting yourself in the leg in a race. You're hampering yourself, and I think that's why I thought Liz's idea of slightly shifting. I know she's for M4A, but I think her shift on trying to kind of tuck towards the middle, talking about her transition period more than talking about M4A, and trying to take a little bit of the center position, I thought was a smart move. But the left side of the Democratic Party doesn't move. They have their guy. They're not going any. This is why he's getting 25%, and he's not going to go lower.
The problem was that strategy didn't pay off for her. That's why she lost support. Yeah.
Right. No, it didn't, because she got crushed between two different sides of the party. If Bernie wasn't in, it would have been hey, she's going to pull the left a little bit. She's going to lose some support, but she's going to make it. But she had attack from the left and the right, and she got crushed trying to pull the politics move. But I get it. It's a politics move. She wasn't pulling support from Bernie. I don't think she ever was. While Bernie's in the race, she's never going to pull support from Bernie, right? And her biggest competition is actually Buttigieg and now Klobuchar. So, but now Bernie has the hard job. He's got to be able to pull the rest, the right side of the party towards him. Now, interestingly, during the last debate, the way Bernie was talking, he was trying. You heard him trying.
Yeah, but we know
that.
That's not Bernie. I don't think that's effective. I mean, you've spent 40 years of your career.
Well, that's the thing is, he needs to get above 30%.
Yo, look, I like who I like, but I don't give a damn who gets the nod. Whoever's sitting across the table from Trump, getting 100% of the support from me.
And I think, Keith, about 40% of the country agrees with you. And 40% of the voting country, 40% of the voters will absolutely do that. But we can't win with 40%
I think
of the voters.
I think that there's a lot riding on those people who voted for Trump. I mean, who voted for Obama and then voted for Trump.
We need that extra
Those
7% of voters.
And
I think Bernie has a decent message for them because they are not policy people. They are either anti-Washington or outside of the box guy or not establishment dude. That's what Obama and Trump technically had in common in their speeches.
He resonates with Michigan and Wisconsin, and
this is why it's weird for us to be doing this much judgment this early, though.
Yeah, like I said, let's. The best thing to do is wait till we'll see after. So yeah, South Carolina at least, and then probably Super Tuesday. Yeah,
at least because we need a more representative state We need a more representative state.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm with you, Keith. Like, I'm gonna vote whoever's the nominee. I'm gonna vote for them.
Yeah. So
there isn't a candidate up there that's I would say no, I'm not gonna vote for. Right?
Technically, I would vote for Tulsi over
if
Trump.
They were,
I hate to say that.
Yeah, I would too. Because you.
Oh yeah, no, that you have to. It's a business decision.
Right. You're voting at that point. You're voting the lesser of two evils, right? Like, I'm not saying she's evil.
That's literally.
I'm not saying she's evil, but policy. Yeah,
but that's what politics is.
I'm keeping conservative judges out of what you call, at least for that cycle.
Yeah, and she's not going to put kids in cages, and enact more bans and whatever, right? So,
as a minority in this country, Trump represents a existential threat.
Yeah, it's actually the white centrists that you have to convince.
Yeah, my hope is that it's been almost 4 years, and here's the thing: we're not going to get that 30% that no matter how much he does, they can't see through the con. Right?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Like they're there,
hook, line, and sinker.
Line and sinker. Yeah. But, there's that 10 to 15% that voted for him last time that hopefully they've woken up and said, oh my gosh, what did we do?
See, unfortunately you have the abortion voter. They are not ever going to vote for anybody but anti-abortion candidate, no matter what they think of that person. Yeah. So whatever you think of that setup, that's what they're going to vote for. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what Trump says or does, as long as he puts in a conservative judge, right? So that's part of the country. You just over there, and that's it. You're stuck. The people you can move are people who aren't paying any attention most of the time and are kind of living their life, and you've got to kind of pop them. And I don't know. Do we think that this is where the whole taxes argument worries me? Because what's going to happen with Bernie is it's going to be 100%. He's going to take your money, socialist. That's the attack. That's what it's going to be for months. Can he withstand that to centrist people who aren't paying attention to politics and go, Trump just cheats a lot. I don't know anything else. I guess he put his wall up. I don't know. Right? They don't think he committed a crime. They don't care about Ukraine. So the only thing they care about is the government. I don't think does anything for me. Is it gonna do for something for me? And Bernie's gonna say we're gonna try to give you health care, and the Republicans are gonna say they're gonna take your money. So which one of those arguments wins?
I think it's got to be more than that. He's got to expand his policies to get the independents and centrists, and it's got to start with foreign policy, and he's got to attack Trump for what a lot of people would say this guy is reckless in global conflict and theater. This guy isn't as reckless. He's going to make sure the soldiers come home. He's not going to start creating wars across the ocean. It can't just be healthcare. It can't be Sanders's main clutch. He's got to find something that can get the middle or slightly left guys galvanized. And right now I think the biggest thing, if you're looking at Trump, other than obstruction of justice, which some people don't really care because it doesn't affect them immediately, is warfare, which does affect a lot of people. To certain, the military families and things like that. There's a lot of folks that I know are scared of this guy creating World War III. Yet they're Republican and conservative. They're not going to voice it, but it's a real fear. When you're we're reading articles about how certain generals are questioning this guy's ability to lead and military. It's just, it puts people on pause, but they just don't find they haven't seen a candidate that they feel like they can get behind that will at least address that concern and not turn into far left type of agenda.
Well, what gets me is the whole Vindman thing. He just kicked Vindman out of his job, and
his brother,
right? And his
brother had nothing to do with it.
And anybody who says, I'm for the troops, and then you're like, well, look, he's doing this to guys who are, decorated military, and they're like, I don't care, whatever. They really don't care. It's like the NFL show about the military. It's show, right?
You know what commercial I would use if I was Bloomberg or any Democrat actually have you? Because the commercial of Vindman telling his father on national TV that it was going to be okay because right matters here,
And then getting kicked
and then
out.
clip to him getting fired, him and his brother getting fired and escorted. This man is a decorated yo.
That's cool. That's a great,
Yeah, exactly right.
Great idea, Keith. You should get paid for
It pisses me off just even thinking about it. The president was a draft dodger.
Yeah.
They need to listen. They need to point out the fact that yes, he dodged draft. He kicked Vindman out. He pardoned the war criminal. He's now the guys who got injured in the Iranian bomb blast.
He said
that,
no one
over
was
100
hurt.
of them that have TBI. He said, "Oh, it's just headaches.
No one
They'll
was
be
hurt.
fine."
Just headaches.
Yeah, no one was
but
hurt.
None of these things have made a dent. I think we are over assuming that people can understand the details, and I don't think most people see the details.
No, it's up to the candidates to make that clear then, right? They need to do a better job.
Yeah, it's not our job to figure it out for them.
Because look, the media's not going to do it. You know, they can only do so much.
And say, listen, we're not going to start agitating Iran or any of the other Middle East countries and enter the next World War III. We're going to focus at home. We're going to focus on the economy. This economy's stupid. It's not North Korea. You got to switch it until where you're like what Keith said is like what sets it up, and then you flip it like I'm bringing it back home. I'm not going to start engaging in our military folks who this guy doesn't show any respect to, a la Vindeman.
And they need to remind people that the U.S. has spent $5 billion on a wall so far that Mexico was supposed to pay for.
Do you guys realize that you're basically giving Trump's what Trump used in 2016?
Yes.
Basically everything he said in 2016 and got him elected.
It worked. It didn't get just a Republican base. It got this middle centrist who didn't like Hillary.
Right. And you need to ask those people, hey, do you see where the deficit and the debt is now? What happened to the promise of getting rid of that?
4.3.
What happened to the promise of the Mexico was going to pay for the wall?
You want to spend money for a space force now?
Right.
You want bigger government?
Yeah, you got to show a picture of the wall falling down out in.
Space Force is just enlarging the government. It's exactly what right-wing conservatives don't want as a bigger government.
No, well, they say they don't. That's the fault.
The problem is most of these candidates hire these consultants who really don't give a shit as long as they get paid.
All right, I think
we could discuss this for hours.
We could.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could discuss this for hours. But I find it even odd that as an American, like populace, like we're looking at this stuff and discussing it. Like they had Clinton in the ringer for getting a dome job in the Oval Office. Like, are you see like day after day after day, this dude is involved in he's a liability internationally.
They don't see it that way. I talk to people online every day, and they find a way to ignore everything he does. Somebody will literally say, "Oh, this AOC is so stupid. She said X." And I'll be like, "Dude, you see what you voted for in the White House? No, he's playing 20 whatever chess." So
But that goes back to my original statement: the 30 to 35% that are going to support him no matter what he does, right? So you just have to ignore. You kind of have to put that to the side, and that other focus on that 10 to 15% that voted for him last time.
But you would think that, but it's not even just MAGA people. It's people who aren't paying enough attention that they think they have the Democrats are this, Republicans are that. And it's in their brain. They've been taught this since they were young. They look at nothing to make them change their mind. And they hear, oh, Democrats are just complaining because he says it like it is, right? It's not even like they go into detail or understand why anybody's saying anything. As a Democrat, we need a Democrat who can change that narrative in some way, shape, or form. And Barack Obama was great, gave a hope, uplifting speeches, and he could move people. Clinton, I don't remember what Clinton was, but people thought he was cool or something.
The man played saxophone on Arsenio, so
right, and he answered the underwear question, right?
Yeah,
boxers
but
or briefs.
We were at a budget surplus with him. That's all I remember.
Right, you need a leader who is a face, and I think Biden can't do it.
He had his time. He had his time.
Waste that
right. And my problem with Pete is he sounds to me like, in my opinion anyway, he's regurgitating like Obama's hope.
Not really.
Well, people will peg him will call him a East Coast liberal,
but he's from the Midwest
because of
yeah
he is. They don't care. They'll call him that. I mean, they call Trump an everyman, and he's the complete opposite. So it's just what air about you. And Pete looks and acts like a Harvard graduate, right? Bernie, on the other hand, at least has something. He's a millionaire, but he doesn't look like he's dressed like a millionaire.
He's only become a millionaire a couple of years ago, right?
He doesn't dress. He actually went on television. He got this suit from Target and break it down.
He at least produces some sort of different vision. I mean, I like Liz has a little bit of personality. Klobuchar,
let me give you an example. Like with Pete, there's not a whole lot of substance to what he's saying. Like when they asked him what was wrong with the country, and his answer had to do with the shape of our democracy, like stuff like that. It's kind of
he's not wrong, but it's very above book learning. What's wrong with it? It's not going into the trenches. What's wrong with the country?
No, but there's no substance really to his answers. You understand?
Well, everything a politician on the road is going to say should have very little substance. It's got to be emotionally connected to people.
This is during the debates I'm talking about. So
all right. Okay. Again,
let's move on, because let's do this. After South Carolina, we should have another discussion about this. Right?
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think we'll have to make it the only topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we ran a bit long on that, we're going to just talk streaming. Do the streaming show suggestions. Okay, and we'll do Birds of Prey next week.
Okay.
Because I want to see what the second weekend numbers on Birds of Prey on before we trash it.
Yeah, I actually want to see that movie this week.
Before I trash it, and I think I like to see someone else see it as well.
I'm hoping to see it. I was supposed to see it. My daughter flaked out on me, so I want everybody to kind of give something they've been watching, something new or old, doesn't matter, that we haven't really talked extensively about, just as a suggestion for people out there to watch. Who wants to be the first?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead, James.
So something that I've actually been watching for a while now, and I had to catch up on the current season, is My Hero Academia. It's a show that my son found, and we watched it together the first season, and then I don't know, it's a lot of episodes, so with work and everything else, I kind of dropped off, and he kept going, and I think at one point I was watching an episode he was watching. I was like, oh, this looks dope. So I had to go back and catch up to where he was at. So now we're in season 4 together. You even bought the Funimation app, so we can watch the English dub version of the current season. And it's a great show, man. I mean, that's it. I wasn't really into anime much when I was young, other than what Keith and Mike used to share with me, like Ninja Scroll, and some of the stuff in the early 90s.
All the old classics,
Yeah, so I missed that whole phase in the late 90s.
That's called hentai, James.
I know you're the expert. This is your realm. So
if it's got more than 4 limbs,
so to me, I'm in love with this show. It's great. It's great for some of the sappiness, some of the story, some of the over the top action. It's just phenomenal, and once in a while you get an actually very well written episode with great story, great everything. You know, there's been a couple episodes that I would love to put against anything else on regular TV and be proud and not be like feeling embarrassed to even compare the episode. But yeah, it's something that I'm caught up on now with the current season, and I would highly recommend for us geeks out there who want a little bit something beyond just live action superhero flicks or John Wick type movies, or it's different and it's great. And I think starting with, if somebody go back and start season 1, you'll be hooked automatically. First 2 episodes, you'll be hooked, and they're short, like 30-minute episodes. But make sure you get the English dub version.
One of our favorite things here now after watching My Hero is creating our own quirks for fun. They're like the most ridiculous, silly type superpowers. Yeah, and we have a good time with that.
It's fun. It's fun. Also, one of my favorite things is I share with my son is watching the YouTube parodies of a lot of that show.
Oh,
do live action parodies of that stuff.
Well, that backtrack one you sent us was great, by the way.
Oh yeah, I just found it by accident.
Mm-hmm. We should shout out. Yeah. I'll find find it, and so we can shout it out. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. So mine is well, we talked about it, but like I really have 2 right now. So the first is Picard. We talked about that last time. So that's my watch, my weekly watch. And the new one on HBO, I was telling you guys about Avenue 5, which is about the cruise liner in space that gets knocked off course. It's a comedy with Hugh Laurie and Josh Gad and a bunch of guys from The Office. So that's my go-to. They're trying to figure out the cruise it's supposed to be an 8-week cruise to Saturn and back, and they get knocked off course, and the new trip is going to take them 3 years. So they're trying to figure out how to get home faster and what to do about food and all that stuff, and it's pretty funny. Check it out. Like, give it more than one episode. I know, Chris, you saw the first one and you were like, meh.
I just haven't been into comedies so much recently, so maybe it's just me.
You're not into comedy?
It's a comedy.
Yeah, but it's like like the Orville, that type of space comedy.
Yeah.
Is it on the same level, equal footing with Orville, Mike?
I called it somewhere like if you crossed Red Dwarf with what did I say? Red Dwarf with Love Boat.
Yeah.
But everybody seems to like the straight man though. Like I'm looking for a comedy standout, and right now it feels like everybody's playing the straight man. I don't know.
Well, that's why I said keep watching, because Josh Gad really takes that role.
Okay.
As he's the CEO of the cruise liner corporation.
So, yeah. So, Mike, you didn't answer the question. You're not going to put it on the same level of the Orville?
What is the same level in terms of humor?
Like, is it just as funny in humor? But
I think it's just as funny, but it's more like Orville isn't straight comedy, right? Orville tries to be a nod to Star Trek as well, but this one is like straight comedy.
Okay. Interesting.
All right, so to call out the YouTube My Hero video that we saw, it's so the YouTube channel's Riven X3I, Riven X3I. It's called UALA. UA is the academy in My Hero Academia. So UALA live action. The main character is played by a guy who was the stunt double for Black Panther in Civil War. So great action. I mean, it's top-notch action for a fan video.
Yeah.
All right. Keith, do you have anything you've been watching?
I mentioned it as well in the year-end wrap-up. But it's the newest season, so like I'll mention it again. But BoJack Horseman.
It's the last season, right?
Yeah, that show it's a cartoon, but it's like it's such a window into like the human psyche, and like the main character is a horse, right? He's like he's an ex movie star. He's an ex movie star, and but like, his career's going on, this, that. I mean, he makes a lot of money, but like he struggles with all these like personal demons and wanting to be liked and realizing that like he's past his prime and nobody wants to see him anymore. And still fighting to be back on TV, and then the personal dramas with women. Like you forget that it's a cartoon. Like it's like dry, dark humor. It's like a funny, sad cartoon, but like, yeah, I dig it. I like it. It's one of those shows that'll make you really appreciate and wonder about the writer. But I would suggest it.
Yeah.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list. All right, I'm gonna cheat because I'm in charge. I'm gonna first shout out one for the kids. If you have preteens, young teens, or even a little bit younger, High School Musical, the series on Disney Plus, they'll like it. Especially if they like any kind of musical series that Disney or any kind of Disney series they normally watch. It's actually good quality for their kind of thing. So definitely check that out. And I just watched Good Omens, and man, I had a great time watching that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm way behind on
Yeah,
this.
that was the summer.
That was good, actually. I liked it.
I'm always like a 6 months.
I felt it could have been a tad funnier, but like it was definitely good viewing.
Yeah, I really dug the two mains. I wasn't sure after in the first episode how much I was getting, but they just bounced off of each other really well. And Michael Sheen, I've seen him everywhere recently, and he's amazing in everything.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he's the father on Prodigal Son right now.
He was in the Mission Impossible movies.
I just saw him in something else. Where did he pop up? Right, yeah. So he was good, but David Tennant.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy was a standout. Everything about him and his character was great. Him yelling at his plants and they're growing out of fear. Dude, just the little things in that show.
Yeah, and the portrayal of heaven as like a corporation, you know,
like a corporate business. Yeah. And the two of them, as they're going through history, running into each other, like, what are you? We're just canceling each other out.
Yeah.
So it was a good show. It had good humor. It was fun.
There's a season 2 coming out, right?
It was the most fun apocalypse I'd seen in a long time.
Yeah, and see, that was a show that came together at the end nicely with the witch and all of that, right? And the book, prophecy book, and everything.
Oh God, it really wrapped up just so nicely, a little bow. So yeah, I know it's behind. I know I'm late on it, but it was great. It's what I watched instead of the Oscar. All right, guys. I think we've had a good conversation. We hit a couple of good culture topics here. As always, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
No problem. Feel the burn.
Go vote. Go vote.
Yeah.
Don't forget Valentine's Day either, guys.
All right.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Have a good night.
All right.
See you later. Dun 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 dun.